Real Training Camp USA Basketball presented by Jeep continues from Las Vegas. What has been a pretty great summer if you're a Cleveland Cavaliers basketball fan. On May 20th, they won the draft lottery for the third time in 4 years. A month later, filled their coaching void with EuroLeague champ David Blatt coming over to Cleveland. On June 26th, they used that #1 overall pick on Andrew Wiggins out of Kansas. On the 10th of July, the Cavs re-signed point guard Kyrie Irving to a 5-year near-max deal. Oh, and that wasn't even really the headline, was it? The next day, LeBron James announced he's, quote, coming home to Cleveland. A pretty nice development for Coach Blatt, of course, the Cavaliers fans as well. Welcome. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, guys.
I'll clear something up before we begin the interview. Coach Blatt can't really speak about Kevin Love. That would be a tampering issue. So we'll do you the favor of not asking about Kevin Love.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So what about Kevin Love? I'm just kidding. Actually, I just saw you up there. You have a notepad. You have the pencil or pen, whatever your writing utensil of choice may be. What kind of notes are you taking? Most guys here, we've got a lot of GMs, a lot of coaches in the building. You're just observing. You're a note taker.
Well, you guys probably remember I coached against Coach Krzyzewski a few times in international play, so I was doing some scouting in the event that I go back and join the Russian national team, and we got to go at it all over again.
So you're spying, essentially.
Well, you know, we all learn from other great coaches, and certainly we're seeing some of the best here.
Obviously, you have some idea of what Kyrie Irving can do and the talent level he brings to the point guard spot for you in Cleveland. What are you watching for out of him specifically this week?
You know, I just hope that Kyrie feels comfortable. Obviously, he has so much that he brings to the table. I think he has the capability to be a great player, both in the international style of play, as well as in the NBA. You know, Coach Krzyzewski obviously had him at Duke, so he knows what he's capable of doing, and I'm glad to see him feeling comfortable out here and doing a good job trying to make this great team.
You know, David, my question is, you have a Kyrie Irving, an all-star point guard. You bring over LeBron James, great problem to have, but he plays with the ball in his hands. Talk about your assessment on how you get a chance to play those two guys, and is it from a coaching staff standpoint, are you going to designate one guy having it, or is it's going to be by feel of both of those guys just playing the game?
Well, you know, I grew up in Boston, and in the heyday of the great Celtics teams, they had a lot of terrific players on that team, but the ball moved. Everybody did their part, and the most important thing was winning, and that's the philosophy that we're going to instill. And we certainly have guys that have come from that kind of thought process, and I'm sure they'll bear their will on what needs to be done. Everybody that really cares about winning knows you got to share the ball.
Coach, obviously you were hired to help change the culture and the environment there in Cleveland. And bringing in LeBron James, talk about how that helps you as a coach coming in for the last 4 seasons rather, not making the playoffs, and changing that losing environment to become a winning environment. Obviously, that's what your job and responsibility is, but talk about having the best player in the game who's won and knows what it takes. How great and how supportive that is for you as you go through this process.
You know, I think unquestionably when your best player is also your best example, you have a heads up on everyone else in terms of promoting team chemistry, team attitude, the winning way, and the proper approach. LeBron has proven that for a number of years now, and just him walking in the door with not only the skill set that he has, but with his particular set of accomplishments and his kind of attitude. He's a team player. That's his true great characteristic, if you ask me, and that's going to help immeasurably.
You are not a household name to a lot of basketball fans here stateside, certainly not casual basketball fans, but your resume speaks for itself with your international success, the EuroLeague championship. You've coached all over the world. Now you come to the NBA, which you grew up watching, obviously. What in your mind will be the single most significant adjustment coaching EuroLeague, coaching in Israel, Italy, Russia, etc., to coming over and coaching in the NBA?
The number of timeouts.
That's the big one?
Yeah, well, for two reasons. You know, the game is played differently. The speed of the game for shorter periods of time, the amount of rest that players get in between, obviously the number of situations that come from dead ball situations, and how you're going to manage that throughout the course of the game, what you're going to use, what you're going to save. I would say that would be the first thing. the different line, the three-point line, which changes the angles of the game, changes the kind of shots you want to take, changes the number of shots that you want to take from that distance. Statistically, it's been proven, obviously, that the three-point shot has had an enormous impact on the game. You got to know how to use it correctly. Flying in better planes is going to be a big issue for me, and I'm really, really happy about that.
That's
one.
nice, yeah.
But overall, you know, guys, I grew up in the United States. I'm pretty familiar with what's going on. Coming from Europe, obviously the use of the stretch four is I think is something that European games showed us. Smitty is in my mind the ideal guy. We're going to bring him out of retirement because even at a small size, his game is going to be greatly enhanced by that.
Ooh, I believe
like that.
You gonna represent me?
I didn't say Grant, you noticed,
How about
because
the,
he can do other things.
How about the practice time? We always hear that in Europe there's fewer games, obviously, so there's a lot more time and more frequent practices. You're not going to have that in Cleveland.
Well, my
Not to the
team's,
same extent,
my
anyway.
team's played close to 80 games, but over a longer stretch of time. I will say this, I've always been a coach that believed in quality over quantity in terms of practice. You know, you don't need to work so long, and certainly sometimes one practice less is better than two more. So I'm sure we'll manage that well. I've got a great staff with me. Guys like Tyrone Lue, who we brought in that have experience in the NBA game, and I'm certainly going to be assisted by them greatly.
You got a little taste of NBA Summer League this summer, getting a chance to coach your team. Talk about the past new #1 picks and Andrew Wiggins and Anthony Bennett. What did you see from those guys?
Well, I was really happy with the way they bought into what we were doing, number one. Both worked extremely hard and extremely well. You know, we had to help Anthony, I think, find himself again after last year, and I feel positive about the fact that we did that. And Andrew, you know, he's going to be a stud in this league, and I'm excited for him, and I really, really think he's got the capability to be a tremendous two-way player.
Not a bad time to be the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for
It's a
stopping
pleasure.
by.
Thank you.
David Blatt
training
with
camp.
us here from
What day is
Las
training camp
Vegas. Smitty's trying to work out a contract extension.
I want to see you on the 20th. We start earlier because of our European games, so get ready.
Man, Matt, we got to
There
get
you go.
started running.
There you go.
Man,
Back to Europe already.
There you go.